Hey, what is going on, everybody? How are you all doing today? I hope you all are having a wonderful and fantastic day today, and if not, hopefully you all will have a better tomorrow. So today I wanted us to have a discussion about a way to improve Ruby's character, to make her feel a bit better as a character, and try to see how she could improve for the future. But side note first, news, RWBY Chibi has come out again today, so a new episode came out today if you are not already aware of this, so I wanted to let you know. So sit back, relax, I hope you all enjoy, and let's go ahead and jump right on into this discussion. So, of course, in the past, RWBY has had a lot of interesting moments. In Volume 1 through Volume 3, felt really well. I really enjoyed RWBY back then, but as of late, I've discussed this before, that RWBY has felt very one-dimensional, and she has not really felt like herself anymore. And of course, there could be several reasons as to really point this out, but RWBY just hasn't really seemed like she's been important much either. If you look at volumes 4 and 5, especially 5, RWBY has not done very much at all, and her character obviously has not felt the same. I mean, yes, we've had moments here and there of where RWBY has obviously been herself, to where we've seen her kind of act a little bit like she did back in volumes 1 through 3, but of course, at the very same time, it has not felt right, and it's felt off. Now, of course, there are a lot of things here, of course, Volume 3 with the fall of Beacon and everything, and post-events of that, RWBY could be depressed, and that could make sense. It could make sense why, because she did lose Penny, she also lost Pyrrha, and obviously she saw them as friends. So of course, to see her react in a depressive state, it makes a lot of sense. But considering that she's really been pushed back and hasn't really seemed very important, I really feel like her character could actually be improved. I feel like she could be thrown into the spotlight again, because even though we've seen moments where RWBY has really showed a bit of depression, it's also shown that she's actually been happy from time to time too. So it shows that she's suppressing her emotions, but I feel like there could be a better way to tackle the situation. I really feel like when it comes to RWBY herself, I feel like we could see more out of this. And considering that she's kind of been backhanded to the point where she doesn't feel like a character other than believing in justice and saving the world, she hasn't felt the same. At least to me, she hasn't. And if you look back at volumes 1 through 3 RWBY, if you look back even at the trailer, she has had wonderful moments both in combat and in personality. She's had her witty moments, and she's obviously been a relatable character that we can all sit here and enjoy. She's had her geeky moments about weapons and all this and that. And I want to say that I think this was a very fun character, because to me, I really enjoyed RWBY's character. She, at that time, if we were to go to volumes 1 through 3, she is one of my favorite characters, actually. I feel that I can relate to her myself, because she has that social awkwardness. And some people actually are socially awkward. And, she tried to fit in and make friends, and of course she had her issues doing that. And I'm pretty sure we've all been there at least at one time or another. And I really felt that I could relate to RWBY back then. I really feel like her character then was someone I could relate to myself, and I really enjoyed watching her and her moments, her comedic ones, as well as even her sad ones. And, her being a weapons geek, it's interesting. It's a part of her character. It's a part of who she is. And yes, while we did see one moment of that in Volume 5 with Yang's arm, we haven't really seen much of it. And, it's kind of sad to say, because I've really enjoyed a lot of the personality that RWBY's had, because she's been this quirky girl who was very energetic, and of course, over time, characters will grow. They will obviously develop, they will grow, and they will become more mature as characters. And sometimes they will keep some of their older traits, but with RWBY being pushed to the back, it hasn't really seemed that way. And I could also relate to her in the factor of trying to make friends, because it's been hard for me sometimes to even do that as well, because I, in the past, believe it or not, have been socially awkward. I have had my issues there, and I can really relate to RWBY. Obviously, her and Weiss and their dynamic of having issues in the beginning, but gradually growing to be very good friends, I really appreciated that, and I really liked that. And we got to see them grow together as friends from volumes 1 through 3, and it really has changed for both of those characters. They really did grow into each other, if that makes sense. They really grew up together as characters, as friends, and I've really enjoyed watching this. And I really have felt like I could relate to that in my own way as well. And when it comes down to it, the thing here is that when we look at everything that's gone on, it's just these moments, these witty moments, these funny moments, these interesting moments haven't really been there. And even with the fight scenes, the action that RWBY has had, the thing about this is that hasn't even really been there as much either. And it's really sad to say, because even the Red trailer itself is really what hooked me, because I remember at the end of Red vs. Blue Season 10, when we got to see the RWBY trailer, the Red trailer, I was extremely hyped because of how well RWBY fought, and it really feels like that's not even there anymore. And you could tell the Monty put a lot of thought and love into his characters, all of them, including RWBY. And with the volumes 1 through 3 fights that RWBY has been in, they have been enjoyable to watch, and I've really enjoyed them. But it seems like in several different ways, not just fighting-wise, but character-wise, just RWBY's dynamic as a character has really been shot, I feel like. I feel like her as a character has really dropped, and I've talked about this a good bit. But now I want to talk about ways that RWBY could maybe improve, maybe for the future. And I just wanted to bring up some of these points because in Volume 5 she didn't do anything, and she could have even asked about the Silver Eyes. This didn't even happen either. I feel like there could have been a lot to RWBY that could have been changed. And like I said, I've brought up a lot of this before, but I just wanted to, kind of sum it up a bit and bring it up a little bit again. But what I think could happen here to actually improve RWBY's character, to help her grow as a character, what I think they could do is, I don't mind this depressive state that she has a little bit going on, because even if you go back to Red Like Roses Part 2, if you go back to that song from the Volume 1 soundtrack, if there's something that you've noticed there, you can obviously know of RWBY's sadness and her disappointment of her mother never returning. Because Red Like Roses Part 2 is about RWBY and Summer, and the thing here is that we obviously know that RWBY has had sadness in her life prior to Volume 1 even, because of the loss of her own mother. Now, when you look at this, and the one thing I want to really bring up here is that I think that even though she has had a bit of this sadness and this depression that we've seen a little bit of, and she even has PTSD after the events of the fall of Beacon, the thing here is that this has really not been emphasized at all. That she's really just been more of a side character, or just there. And the thing I really want to bring out here is that she needs to be focused on. She really needs to have a character arc to herself now. And I think this is something that really needs to happen, because if you think about it, Weiss, Blake, and Yang all have had their moments. And RWBY herself now needs that moment. She needs to have a bit of growth here. And I think something to help all of us relate to her is that she may need to talk to somebody about the issues that are going on. And maybe somebody could catch her acting a bit different, seeming a bit strange in comparison to how she's acted in the past. And this could kind of emphasize a bit on her depression. And I think that what we could see, which would be good, is that RWBY maybe talks to somebody, whether it be her sister Yang, or it be her teammates like Weiss and Blake, or it be anybody else, or Uncle Crow even. Somebody, I think, she needs to talk to about her issues, and I think that this should give us a little more to see out of this. I think that we do need to see these emotional conflicts that RWBY is actually having over the events of the fall of Beacon, and maybe they could tie into the loss of her mother, considering that she lost someone important to her, and then she obviously loses 2 more people she cares about later on in time. And I think that if she talks to these individuals about this important matter that has been obviously weighing on her over time, I think that we could see something good out of RWBY, because she has held in her emotions for so long. And obviously she's never really had the time to sit there and talk about, hey, I have this going on, I have this issue, and I actually want to talk about it finally. I think that's something that she does need. I think she needs to kind of talk about that a little bit, and it would help people relate to her a little more again. Because, yeah, Volumes 1 through 3, RWBY is great. I love Volumes 1 through 3, RWBY. I think that she is amusing to watch, and she's very fun to watch. But I have so many issues with Volumes 4 and 5, RWBY, because she's not really important, it feels like. She's just kind of there, and yeah, she helps out a little bit, but it didn't really seem like much to me. And I feel like if they try to act on how she may be feeling post Volume 3, I think that personally, this would be very good. I would like to see her actually talk about how she feels about these things, and try to emphasize about how this has actually affected her. Instead of us rather just seeing these things, I think that RWBY herself really needs to finally talk about this. I think this needs to be something that needs to be brought up with someone that she trusts, like I said, anybody of her team, or her uncle, or somebody else even that is with their group right now. I think this would be good to actually see this moment actually happen. And one big thing that I would really like to see RWBY talk about, because it's been foreshadowed on multiple occasions, I think the Silver Eyes is another thing that needs to be brought up, because it is a part of her character. It's a part of her ability. It's something that she can do that is specific to her and other Silver-Eyed warriors, obviously. So I think it's about time that this is something that needs to be brought up, because this has been foreshadowed multiple times. And I think that we need to finally learn more about the Silver Eyes than what we just know now, because there's obviously more behind it. And don't get me wrong, it's cool to see. I'm not denying that. It's a cool thing to see, but the more that this keeps getting pushed back, obviously more questions will still be there to be answered later. And this is something that would be good for RWBY and maybe help her develop too, maybe help her learn to try to use this more. I think this would be good, and to obviously just see her fight more needs to be a big thing because she really hasn't done much, and as the main character of the series, I would expect more from her. I would expect her to do more. And another thing that I feel like a lot of this could also do too is this could, with her talking about her issues and maybe some of her depression, maybe this could bring up something about Summer, because Team Stark has been left as this big mystery, and Summer has been left as a big mystery as well. And maybe this could be something that we could see a bit more of too, because this is another question that is obviously lingering around, just like the Silver Eyes, that really needs to be answered soon. I'm not saying it has to be completely answered, but at least some questions need to be answered. And I feel like with RWBY not doing much, it's really hurt her character. I really feel like she has just been kind of thrown back. And like I said, you can't backhand a character and smack the character and the importance out of them and think that people are going to really like that. People aren't going to like that. I mean, yes, I do think you need to work on other characters that are important as well to the story, but RWBY is the main character, and she does deserve her own arcs and her own growth. And I think that by seeing this, by maybe her talking about this a little bit and her getting more action, then maybe this could be good for RWBY. I think this personally to me would be a good thing to see out of RWBY because I would like to see more out of her. I've always enjoyed RWBY's character, but Volumes 4 and 5 really kind of made her slope down in my favorites of characters for RWBY because I really liked her a lot. She was certainly within my top 5 characters when Volumes 1 through 3 were going on. But Volumes 4 and 5, she really plummeted a bit because of how she hasn't done a whole lot and how her character really just hasn't seemed important even though she is the main character. But that's just my personal opinion, and maybe that has happened to you too. Maybe in your eyes RWBY has kind of slumped a bit as a character too. But hopefully we'll get to see more out of her. Hopefully there will be a lot more for her character. Maybe there will be development in Volume 6. And I'm really hoping for that myself, because I hope to see more good things out of RWBY. But I'll be back again on Tuesday. Let me know what you think down below, and let me know what you think would be a good way to improve RWBY's character. But anyways, thank you all for watching. I hope you all enjoyed, and if you did enjoy, hit the video with a like, subscribe if you want to see more content like this, and share this with your friends if you found this informative or useful. Well, anyways, I hope you all have yourselves a wonderful and fantastic day today, and remember, if today was not a good day, tomorrow could always be better. Take care of yourselves and everyone around you, and I hope you have yourselves a good one out there, everybody.